Hello, welcome. Francis here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I bid thee welcome. There is a subscribe button below if you would like to help support this channel by subscribing, and also a bell to be notified as to when I upload more content. I'm coming to you from Ghana country, and as such, I acknowledge the Ghana people of the Adelaide Plains as being the traditional custodians of this land. So we have a super new moon coming up on, so it's Wednesday the 8th here in Adelaide, South Australia at 12:51 a.m. So that's Australian Central Standard Time. In other parts of the world, it will be on the 7th of May. So you might just want to check as to when it will be happening where you reside, and it will be 18 degrees 2 minutes of Taurus. So as with all these sort of astrological updates, I'm not an astrologer. I'm just sort of compile them from the astrologers that I do follow, and I link them below. And I do acknowledge that I didn't do the one about the last full moon because basically I was busy doing other stuff. We'll do this one about this new moon. So we're in May. It's hard to believe we're in May already. So just want to recap over April, because April was such a huge month energetically. We had the solar eclipse, total solar eclipse that happened on the 8th or 9th of April, again, depending on where you reside. And the effects of this total solar eclipse, you could very well still be feeling. And in fact, some astrologers say that we will actually be feeling these energetics until the end of the year. Then on the 20th of April, there was this conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus, marking the beginning of a new 14-year cycle of those energetics, many of which may be felt probably more internally and on a personal level than externally on a collective level. However, our energetics are always interconnected. So when we start doing work internally, that actually does flow out internally, externally as well. So with this new moon, what will be impacting upon it will be Pluto, because Pluto is stationing retrograde on the 7th of May at 2 degrees of Aquarius. So Pluto's been sort of like dancing between Capricorn and Aquarius for a while now, and now it's retrograding back into Aquarius. And this is important because as a planet, especially one of these external far-reaching planets, their orbit takes longer. And when they begin to station or change direction, what they do, they slow down, almost like they're digging their heels into the sand, so to speak, enabling this change to occur. So what that means to us here on Earth is that, especially for those of us who are sensitive to these tides or have points or planets at, say, 2 degrees of Aquarius, we may actually get dragged into the pool of these energetics. Also, it is important to say, if you look at your chart, your birth chart, see if you've got any planets and points from 0 to 4 degrees of the fixed signs, because Aquarius is a fixed sign. So you're looking at Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, because this is where the energy will really be felt. Also, with your birth chart, look to see what house Aquarius is in, because Pluto transits between 1 to 2 years, and when it does, it sort of opens up opportunities for us to step into our own. Again, it's all about empowerment. Okay, there may be sort of a restructuring, a revisiting, because when planets go retrograde, it's all the R's: revisiting, review, refresh, renew, looking back to see what we can improve on, see what hasn't worked, see what needs to be released in order for us to then step forward. And as I said, it's all about empowerment, personal empowerment. Now, coming back to this new moon, there is an interesting stellium, which means that there are at least like 3 planets all lining up. This time we have 5 planets, including 3 personal planets, which are the planets between Earth, between Earth and the closer planets between, I think it's actually Mars is included as a personal planet as well, and the Sun. All at or nearing 29 degrees of their respective signs. So 29 degrees is the anaretic degree point, or the last degree point before the planets move into a new sign. And as such, this could actually express probably a more shadowy aspect of that sign. So we have Mercury, 29 degrees of Aries, and that's will be happening on the 15th of May. We've got the Sun at 29 degrees of Taurus on the 20th of May. Mercury, 29 of Aries on the 15th of May. Venus, 29 degrees of Taurus on the 23rd of May. Jupiter, 29 degrees of Aries between the 21st and the 25th of May. And Neptune, 29 degrees of Pisces from the 30th of May through to the end of August. So while these are later in the month, they are still going to impact on this new moon, especially Neptune, because Pisces is Neptune's own sign, and Pisces is also the last sign in the zodiac. So this is sort of really emphasizing completion, endings, etc. Now, what's interesting about Neptune is it's named after the Roman sea god, known as Poseidon to the Greeks. So in particular, I think Pam Gregory, astrologer, has indicated this could be or have a connection towards seas, oceans, water in general. Now, very recently, in the last week or so, there's been floods in Dubai, of all places. There is a problem with the pollution of our waterways. All this is coming to light, the contamination. There's other issues around water and its uses. All across Asia, again, there are floods happening. And this could also mean emotional overload as well. So this is just something to look out for, especially towards the end of this month. 30th of May is when Neptune will be 29 degrees of Pisces until the end of August. So it might be just worthwhile to sort of put together a self-care package, or even see what you can do about trying not to get too emotionally involved, or only deal with the emotions that you are able to deal with. Also look at your protection, your grounding, and as I said, a lot of self-care. Okay, so all of this is influencing this new moon, which just happens to be a super new moon. As I said, in 18 degrees, 2 minutes of Taurus. So in your birth chart, look to see what house 18 degrees of Taurus is in, and again, whether you have any planets or points there. So at a new moon, of course, we know this is the darkest of the sky, or the sky is when it's at its darkest, because we've got the sun and the moon conjunct. They are together. And what they are doing when they are together is holding that seed of all potentiality. This is why people like to do, or start thinking about manifesting with the moon. Again, in order to sort of bring that manifesting, that seed into reality, basically into this earthly plane, for it to manifest promptly, look to see what house Taurus is in for you, because this can always aid all this. Now, supermoon happens when the moon on its ecliptic around the earth is at the closest point to the earth. And as such, it can intensify things, especially if you're manifesting at the new moons. And again, new moons are considered times of beginnings or opportunities for setting intentions and plans for what you want to manifest in the upcoming lunar cycle. I tend to use them just to sort of like writing out the list, and then I'll wait until the moon's a little bit more established in the sky, when it's beginning to wax, before I start putting things out there. Because to me, when the moon is it's just gone a new moon, got a little bit of a residue from the dark moon, and it's still very unsure about things. If you want to learn more about how I work with the moon, get a copy of my book on her silver rays. So available online through usual outlets as well. A little bit of self-plug there. Okay, so as I said, look to see what house the new moon is in to actually give you ideas, especially with your own chart, to see where the areas are that you should be focusing on. Also, after what we've been through, especially with the eclipse season, there tends to be an invitation to connect with what grounds you, to balance you, to sort of calm you down. And again, as I said, this could have an influence with Neptune coming into Pisces as well, the needing to sort of focus on the grounding. So we go stellium of planets at 29 degrees. We also have a stellium of planets in Taurus, 4 of which are conjunct. So we've got the sun and the moon at 18 degrees of Taurus, as I've just said. We've got Uranus at 22 degrees of Taurus, Jupiter at 25 degrees of Taurus. And they're actually emphasizing or rebooting the energetics of this conjunction. And this is what this new moon is doing. And then the other planet is Venus at 10 degrees of Taurus. Now, Venus is actually the planetary ruler of Taurus, its own home sign. If that wasn't intense enough, we also have 4 planets or points in Aries. We have Chiron and Mercury, both at 21 degrees of Aries. We have the North Node, 21 degrees of Aries, but that's also retrograde. I think it's 21 degrees. I might have to check that. We've got Mars at 5 degrees 45 minutes of Aries, nearly 6 degrees of Aries. And then we've got Neptune at that sort of balancing point at 29 degrees of Pisces. And all of this is indicating that intention should be paid in these areas of your chart. So it's almost like a revival of something is coming into your life. And there's this extreme focus on this particular area in your life. What do you want to bring into your life? What you want to manifest? What do you want to sort of bring forward to you? And this is because Taurus is the builder, setting out the foundations. And it may be actually changing what you had desired to bring into your life due to what's happened, what's come up through the solar eclipse and also Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. And you may find that your foundation may change too as we move through these rather intense energies. Now, looking at the new moon, sort of breaking it down even further, Taurus is the fixed sign. It's a fixed earth sign. It is raw. It's really down to earth. It likes safety. It likes things being steady. It's like very foundational. I like to see it sort of like a chair with the 4 legs, or the balls are very solid. Doesn't like change. Likes to do things for the longer term. It also focuses on the quality of things, values, quality of life, as opposed to quantity. So it helps us align, well, helps us sort of bring back into mindset our values, what's important to us. However, this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is all about breaking things up, breaking up the old, the stale, getting rid of the outdated patterns in our life in order to create something new, something that could be even better. Not to mention that Uranus represents things that we have actually outgrown, especially at a deeper soul level. So like it or not, there tends to be, or the energetics are indicating that there is a lot of change still happening, especially in the outer, the more external layers, as well as an opportunity for us to sort of shift through these external layers or on a more personal level as well. So highlighting the need to come back to our center as much as we can, to remain focused and grounded, connected with the earth. And there's something else that's cool. This is Tauri, and something else about Taurus is that it likes things very simplistically, very simply. It doesn't like the bells and whistles and the fancy stuff. It sort of, again, it's like cutting back, looking at the root cause sort of thing, what really, truly matters. And another thing that I noticed too is that Pluto at the new moon is the only planet in retrograde. It's only 2 degrees, so Aquarius, as I mentioned earlier, indicating, because all the other planets now are facing forward, moving forward. So it's all indicating that it's time now to really start moving forward. Now, before I go, I just want to mention too that Molly McCord mentioned that Jupiter is now conjunct with the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters. And that Seven Sisters is a light years ahead of us. It's a constellation that's connected with spiritual advancement, compassion, creativity, communication, even detachment. And Jupiter has not been working directly with the Pleiadian star seed point. However, it's beginning to ask us to step back from what we may have been attached to, especially like our habits, something that may have been excessive in our life. Again, that's a Victorian thing, that we want a lot of values, even though it is a planet of simplicity. There's always a plus and a negative aspect to it. And especially if this excessiveness has actually pulled us away from what we really need. Maybe we're working too hard and we're not having that life-work balance. And it's really hard to say that. I'm just thinking because we're living in times where it can be very difficult, but it's just like we still need to keep a little bit of balance in our life, even if we go through all the mundane things as well. Because when we detach, especially if we're so bogged down in the material realm and we sort of miss spiritual aspects too, so we need to sort of detach from material realm, the precious, every now and then give ourselves 5-10 minutes of us time. When we do that, we are able to receive the energetic, especially with Jupiter now being conjunct with the Pleiades. And I'm not really into these outer constellations. I don't know a lot about them in any depth, but just because you are interested in this, I thought was a really interesting point that Molly was making. Because she says we've got this possibility of opening ourselves up to receive these energetics, this higher level of wisdom frequencies from the Pleiadian Seven Sisters, and actually have an opportunity to bring that down into our current reality. So if you do work with the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters, that might be something to consider. Again, as I said, Molly knows more about it than I do. Check out her video and all that's listed below. So this new moon in Taurus, Taurus is connected with the land, with agriculture, farming, how our food is grown and harvested. Interesting, Pam Gregory talks about or mentions that this new moon, which is in Taurus, is actually trine to the asteroid Ceres. Now, Ceres is named after the Roman goddess of the grain. Demeter is what she was known to the Greeks. So that's an interesting fact there about our food. And I think it's beginning to sort of come to light, the monopolization of some big companies, especially food chains, how farmers are not getting paid the value for their food. even though at our end we're paying too much for them. A lot more people are moving into farmers markets or learning to grow their own food, going into more allotment style. So again, this is all about agriculture, our food, farming. Taurus is also associated with wealth, banking, currency. So these are the things that either focus on or could be coming out. So again, there is encouragement to tune into the natural cycles of the earth, not just the lunar cycles, but also the solar cycles, the seasons. And we've just gone through Samhain here in the southern hemisphere, Beltane, beginning of summer, the northern hemisphere. To start taking note of the simplistic wonders that are basically on offer for us and which can actually benefit us greatly, especially when it comes to our mental health, like going for walks out in nature, sitting in the grass, watching the birds. If you've got a local park or flower garden, go for a walk through there, walk down the beach, try and get out in nature, even if it's just around your block, out in the fresh air, the sunshine. Because that enables us to sort of like help clear ourselves away from the computer energetics, because we really need to step away from our computers and also unplug ourselves from our devices, our mobile phones in particular, and drop into the stillness that Mother Earth offers us to help clear our minds and also to help improve our own mental health. I know I'm quite blessed. I have a bit of a garden. I have a bird bath out my kitchen window. So when I'm one of these people, I still wash my dishes. When I wash my dishes, I can watch the politics, the pecking order of the different birds in my garden as they come to the bird bath. And that gives me very simple pleasures, but it sort of helps ground me in our day-to-day existence. You can also achieve this through meditation. And due to the increasing nature of the chaotic energies at the moment, which tend to be intensifying, it's almost getting more and more important to establish a meditation practice, even if it's just following the breath, 4, 5, 10 minutes. And you can actually do a lot of these things. You can multitask, you can do the dishes and just do a 4-fold breath meditation. You don't have to sit there like a Zen monk. And the benefits of meditation are well documented, and there are numerous styles of meditation out there. As I said, from simple, just observing the breath, to be more mindful, more present in the here and now, as well as full-blown yogic or Zen practices. And it is one of these reasons that I will be recommencing the Monday night meditations that I hold through the Mystical Soul Academy here in Adelaide. So they'll be starting on Monday, the 17th of June. And you can find out more about them if you are in Adelaide. There's the link below. So I hope this has been of interest to you. Do check out the links to the astrologers that I have used their information to help prepare this video, because they are the experts after all. I'm not. If I would be interested in learning how you've resonated to this information. I do sort of like glean what resonates for me, especially if something has come up for you from the solar eclipse that's now just beginning to enable you to sort of work through it. So please put your comments below, because I do read them. And if you haven't already done so, it'll be wonderful if you want to help support this channel by subscribing. I don't do Patreon or anything like that, but if you do subscribe, then I get X amount of subscribers. I think I can do a live, and that's what would be fantastic. I could actually do a live. So take care, and I will see you again soon. Blessings.